Hey, what's up guys? It's your boy Drew back again with another video for all you American soccer fans out there. And in this one, we're talking about the MLS is back quarterfinal predictions. I'm going to give you guys my predictions on who I think or what team I think is going to go through to the semifinals and get one step closer to that beautiful MLS is back tournament title. I thought this tournament was going to be like an okay tournament. I was really hoping it'd be really good. And my hopes have been answered. Because I feel like this tournament has been fire. Group stage, fire. Round 16, fire. And I hope the quarterfinals live up to those expectations as well. We got some great games coming up in these quarterfinals. I can't wait to go over it with you guys. But before we do, as always, you guys love soccer, hit the like button as well. And if you guys love what you're watching here and you want to see more, then subscribe down below. All right, so without further ado, let's just get to it. So for the round of 16, I got, let's see, only 6 of my predictions correct. And I think that's way better than I did for the group stages. For the round of 16, I predicted Philadelphia, Kansas City, Toronto, Portland, Orlando, LAFC, San Jose, and Columbus. Clearly Columbus and Toronto failed my expectations and my prediction. So let's talk about those real quick before we get into the predictions of the quarterfinals. Toronto FC losing 1-3 against New York City FC. Crazy. I know I'm not the only one who thought New York City was going to lose. We all thought Toronto, after having a killer group stage, being on fire in terms of scoring and having pretty good at the back, I thought they were going to easily wipe the floor with New York City FC, who came in 3rd place in their group stage, in Group A. So I thought easy win for Toronto. Turns out Toronto's like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, we're just going to play lackluster soccer. Like, we're just going to lay back. We don't have Josie, really. We don't really have Akinola, so what's the point of even trying to score? I mean, you could tell that they were such a different team. They were deflated. They were not the same team. They didn't play the same way. I feel like they had not many options in going forward for the attacking and scoring goals, so I think that's what hurt them the most. I feel like after Akinola's injury, he hadn't missed that game. They kind of like just, you know, put them downhill. And as for Columbus, I thought this team who didn't lose a single game in their group stage, who didn't concede a single goal, who was scoring goals like crazy, would come here and defeat Minnesota United, who came, granted, in 2nd place in their group, also undefeated. I knew it would be a good game, but I didn't think it would be like, I thought Columbus would have had the slight edge because of the way they're playing, but I feel like every time people give Columbus credit, and like, yeah, Columbus actually doing pretty good, they kind of like, you know, fuck it, we're not going to even try now. Like, come on, Columbus. Granted, they did lose on penalties. It could have went either way, but if they were the team I thought they were, and if they played the way I thought they were going to play, then they would have gone through, you know, with winning the game instead of winning on penalties. But turns out that did not happen. Some other teams I was impressed with in the round 16, obviously LAFC. I thought that would be a much closer game against Seattle, but it just seems as though LAFC wants this tournament more than everybody. I feel like they had the better team. Maybe they have the best team in this tournament. I feel like as though they're also going to win it all the way. I kind of was not rooting, but I was kind of thinking Columbus could go all the way and possibly win it, but they suck now again. But now LAFC seems to be the team that everyone's picking to win the whole tournament. I mean, you look at the quarterfinals and you feel as though LAFC could defeat every single team in the quarterfinals right now. Am I wrong for saying that? I don't think so. I think pretty correct. This team has scored 15 goals so far this tournament. Diego Rossi is on fire. He scored more goals himself than most of the teams left in the tournament have scored in the whole tournament. That's fucking crazy. So that's who I think is going to win this tournament, but hopefully the Union wins it after defeating Bruce Arena's New England 1-0 with a nice, beautiful goal by Sergio Santos, which I'll talk more about that in a second when I preview the game. And then, of course, Portland also went to penalties as well with Cincinnati. And all of the games in the round 16, we had 3 games go to penalties, and I think that's awesome for neutrals who like to see penalty kicks go, you know, because it's just fun to watch and kind of like nerve-wracking, especially if that's your team doing the penalties. But whatever. Orlando City defeated Montreal. It sucks because I would have liked to see Thierry Henry further in this tournament and like try to advance his team more, get some more experience with them in the tournament like this. But whatever, that's fine. I don't care. Orlando wins. We got 5 Western Conference teams and we got 3 Eastern Conference team here. So I know some people are just like, yeah, Western Conference better, but really, it's the same fucking league. So who cares? Let's go ahead and talk about the first game we have at hand here, and that's going to be Philadelphia Union, my boys, playing against Sporting Kansas City. I think this is going to be a pretty difficult team and a difficult matchup to predict here. But I'm going to pull through for the Union. But I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game for them. I feel as though Sporting Kansas City I think they have been playing better, even though, they did have to go to penalties against Vancouver, a team that I think really wasn't much of a threat for them. But Vancouver lined up defensively pretty decently. But their goalkeeper, that young dude, killing it. He had his best game of the whole tournament. Of the whole tournament so far. He was stopping every freaking goal. Kansas City had almost over 30 shots on target that game. That just shows to me that they have a lot of players who can go and make some runs and make some attacks on goal. It shows me that they are able to break down some defenses and midfielder and control the game. Like, they were dominating this game like crazy. I worry for the Union because of how good Kansas City looks going forward. Even though I feel they were a bit unlucky to not score a single goal in that regular game. I think that luck was on Vancouver's side actually, and helping them at least make it to the penalty kicks against Kansas City. But I think that with just a little more accuracy or just a different goalkeeper, Kansas City would have definitely won this game by a lot more than just 0-0 or just a lot more than just 3-1 on penalties. And as for the Union, they had a really close, tight game with New England again and Bruce Arena. Bruce Arena getting ejected. That was pretty funny. But the Union were able to pick up on a New England Revolution mistake and capitalize, score a goal. A freaking tremendous goal by Sergio Santos. Just freaking blasted it into the goal. That was great. So as for my final prediction on this matchup, with Alan Pulido and just Johnny Russell and Graham Zuzi as well, I'm going to go ahead, and I hope I'm wrong, I'm going to give the win here to Sporting Kansas City, probably a close 2-1 win. And that's it. And I just have to shed one tear for my Union boys. I feel like this might be our stop, but I hope not. Next game after that, guys, we have Orlando up against LAFC, and I think easily prediction here, I think LAFC is going to steamroll past Orlando. I feel like Orlando, while they did top their group in Group A over Philadelphia Union and New York City, I think still that they do not have enough firepower or just enough talent in their team to defeat LAFC, who's been on absolute fire. I think if Seattle can beat LAFC, then Orlando is definitely not defeating LAFC. Orlando topping the group, but the group really wasn't the strongest group. They had Inter Miami there. They had New York City FC, who was on a bad run of forms coming into that tournament. And Philadelphia Union was the only team where they really got tested, and they had a draw. But coming up against a team like this, LAFC, who's way better than Montreal, I think way better than any team in their group that they had. I think it's going to be an easy win for LAFC. Diego Rossi picking up a brace in the last game against Seattle. He's going to be in great form, great mindset to go ahead and score another freaking goal here. He's obviously going to probably get the golden boot of this tournament if there is one. But easy prediction, LAFC probably going to win 3-0 against Orlando City. Finally, on the last day of the quarterfinal match days, we have a double games that day. First game coming up that night is going to be San Jose against Minnesota United. I think it's going to be probably another game that I think could be pretty tight to call, a pretty close call. You can go either way, but I'm going to have to give the edge here to San Jose. I think the way they played in the group stage was great. I feel like all their players are in good form. Chris Wondolowski is freaking hungrier than I've ever seen him before. They're playing tremendously. They absolutely dismantled Real Salt Lake 5-2 in their last matchup in the round of 16. And they're coming up against Minnesota United, who had to go through on penalties against Columbus Crew. Now, it could be like a big win for Minnesota to defeat Columbus in the round of 16. But not if Columbus was just like on a lucky streak, but really now they suck again. So they just beat like a team that was not as good as Minnesota as themselves. But I think comparing all the teams, comparing what they're playing, I'm going to have to just give it to San Jose because it looks as though like San Jose has the better firepower. They've got a better team. I think they're just set up better. They're just in better form. Like I don't know how else to say it. San Jose is just going to win. Probably scoring a lot of goals again. Probably a 3-1 win against Minnesota. And if they do win, and if LAFC do win, we do get a nice, cool California derby in the semifinals with San Jose and LAFC. I think that's actually really, really cool, and I hope that happens because, you know, MLS is going to fucking hype that shit up. Finally, the last game to wrap up this quarterfinals is going to be New York City FC up against Portland Timbers. For a lot of you guys, you might think this is going to be an easy prediction. You probably think Portland Timbers is going to go ahead and win this game, but I'm going to go ahead and say that this is going to be a very tight game. Close game to call, another close. I feel like all these games except LAFC's game is going to be a tight, close call. It can go either way. But for this team, for this matchup, if New York City FC plays the way they played against Toronto, they could definitely go through with a win against the Portland Timbers on this night. And if Portland Timbers plays the way they played against Cincinnati last game, where it was kind of like it was back and forth, then I think definitely New York City can go ahead and pick up a win here. But, you know, you also got to think about the fact that Toronto was lackluster. It wasn't the same Toronto team. Like, they were deflated. So that's probably why New York City was able to capitalize on that bad mentality, bad form that Toronto was playing, and able to get a win here. But I'm going to go ahead on a limb here, and I'm going to say New York City FC is going to beat Portland Timbers, boy. If they do, I want you guys all to come back here and say, Drew, you're freaking psychic, bro. Because that's my prediction. That's my honest truth prediction. New York City FC will defeat Portland Timbers and go through to the next round and possibly face Sporting Kansas City. That's all I pretty much have for you guys today. It looks like we're going to have a pretty good quarterfinal round of games, and then it looks as though if my predictions are correct, we're going to have a really fun time watching these semifinal games as well, and then hopefully have a tremendous final game of this tournament. Before you guys go, I would love to know, please write down your thoughts on who you think is going to go through to the semifinals and what you guys think of my predictions and what you guys think about the channel. If you like it, then subscribe. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for kicking it with me, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.